Thanks for joining us for a special live stream. It's the first of only 5 that we'll be doing this year. It's a book launch. And today will mark the initial release of the science fiction short story, A Taste of Earth, otherwise known as...
When is a meteor more than a rock?
I don't know. That's a good question. The first thing I really want to cover in this is why is sci-fi even necessary? Is Christian sci-fi? Is there a place for Christian sci-fi? Why waste our time on Christian science fiction at all? I would say that now I'm reserving some of the argument for this for another live stream totally altogether. And the reason why I'm bringing this up as a question right off the bat before we dive into A Taste of Earth is to ask a much broader question and say, why even do this? Some people would say that fiction is just a total waste of time. Just like anything, just like, sports or whatever, you can take it too far. You can take it to an extreme. But another question is, does it serve any purpose at all? I mean, other than just the broader thing of enjoyment of getting into a story, a little bit of escapism, stuff like that, is there any benefit to it whatsoever? So I would say that there is at least 3, possibly 4 things that would be a good reason for looking at this. The first one is perception of the divine. By engaging with fantastical stories, readers explore deeper truths and gain insights that are not necessarily accessible through other forms of literature, like just reading some, how-to book, like, maybe a spiritual guide or whatever, things like that. There are some insights that you can grasp just by reading a story itself. And when we have the next live stream on this next Tuesday, we're going to dig deeper
tomorrow?
into that. What's that?
You mean tomorrow?
No. Okay, so we are having a live stream with this guy, and let me make sure I pop that up. This guy right here, tomorrow, we're going to be talking about one of the philosophical or theological concepts that's dealt with in this short story. But that's tomorrow night. And then Thursday, we're going to be going through a review of a movie, Independence Day Resurgence. Now, this was Independence Day 2, but we're going to do a review on this and look at, there's one theme that's in here that, even though the movie kind of flopped.
Kind of.
It wasn't, on today's standards, it would have actually done well. But when it came out, there's a lot of expectations about it. When we get into that, we're going to look at one of the themes that are in it and to say that, there's something that's actually kind of good here that we want to take a look at. Not that the movie itself is so fantastic. And why are we even looking at Independence Day at all? Well, it's
Independence Day.
It's Independence Day. It's the 4th of July.
Why are we looking at Independence Day on the 4th of July?
I don't know. So you might sit down and watch. This might be a popcorn movie that you put in the original. Well, this is the sequel to it. So we're going to do a comparison between the two. But then next Tuesday, we're going to do a deeper dive into why Christian science fiction. Is that even a real thing? And if so, is there a place for it? So of the 4 reasons I would kind of give for that is perception of the divine. The second one is moral and spiritual insights. Through fiction itself, we remember facts better than dry repetition. History is a story, and we can memorize dates and everything like that, names and stuff, but it really doesn't kick in until we look at the story behind history, like Henry VIII, what happened there, and all the intrigue and everything behind it. And if you just memorize him and his dates, it's just dry. But if you get into the story, then there's something different. The same thing can be said about fiction itself. Stories are powerful vehicles for imparting lessons and values, and more effectively than other didactic approaches. And this is one reason I believe that Jesus was speaking in parables. The third thing is emotional and intellectual engagement. Fiction uniquely engages both the emotions and the intellect. That's one reason why it's easier to remember some stories. They can evoke empathy and understanding, allowing the reader to experience a world from different perspectives. The fourth thing is cultural and philosophical influence. Fiction has the power to shape culture in a way that just dry reading or rote memorization can't. It offers a means to change and challenge prevailing worldviews and encourage deeper reflection on important issues. Now, there are some examples for this. There are several examples in history you have, and just in the United States itself, in recent history, literature, television, and in films, how they have influenced politics and culture in a very deep way. And so I'm going to reserve that for next Tuesday night. We're going to really delve into that and ask some questions. So we're going to go deeper. The whole reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is the reason why I do science fiction writing, is because of the influence it has and the impact that fiction itself can have above other forms of literature. So I'm going to check the comments. So this answers the question I think that you're saying.
It tastes like dirt. Yeah.
A taste of earth. Yeah, tastes like dirt. We'll find out. And there's a double meaning to that in the story itself. So I got things out of order. Okay, so back to A Taste of Earth. This is the cover art for it. And the idea behind Taste of Earth is when an enigmatic alien probe, Hachiman, crash lands on Earth, humanity is thrust into a desperate struggle to understand and survive its advanced terraforming technology. Amidst the chaos, scientist Dipesh Patel races against time to uncover the probe's true intentions and prevent global catastrophe. With the world's climate spiraling out of control, Dipesh, alongside his colleagues Dakota and Irene, delve into Hachiman's complex programming and moral quandaries, revealing a poignant reflection on the nature of life and intelligence. Hachiman is a relic of an extinct race, and I'm going to stop right there because I'm getting too many spoilers. So we're going to delve into it.
It's almost like you wrote it yourself.
Almost as if I wrote it myself.
That's weird.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's kind of the background for it. And then we're going to look at the characters, the struggles, some of the philosophical aspects of it. And this short story, it's not big, small. It's a handful of pages. You could 7,000 words. I say a handful. On Amazon says it's 47 pages in total. But it does challenge some thinking. It's even if you're a believer, and also for an unbeliever, this would be good science fiction that you could introduce to an unbeliever too, because it's not overt. It's not like beat them over the heads with the Romans Road or anything like that. Not that Romans Road is bad, it's all good, but this I think is a good, compelling story that shows the differences between that. So checking out the comments real quick. He says, sounds cool. Yes, and I got to lean over a little bit. I'm sorry. I did not realize that my face was in the cover art. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at some of the characters. Let me ask you, put you on the spotlight a little bit. Have you read this story?
Long. Yep.
You have?
I have.
Okay, so you're familiar with the characters.
I'm not in trouble.
You're not in trouble. Okay.
I got the book myself and I read it myself, so I'm good.
Okay. And I won't put you on the spot by asking you to give it a rating, and I won't be giving it a rating either, like we usually do with some of the.
What, you're afraid you might be a little biased?
I would be a little bit biased because if I thought it was bad, I wouldn't put it out there, right? Or if I thought a particular thing was bad, I'd go and try to change it. So, but I'm open to, hey, if you guys do get it, please write a review, unless it's a 1. I don't want ones. But if you could write a review on it, I would appreciate it. It always helps to put that out there to help boost it. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the characters. The first one is Dipesh. Now, he's kind of the main character, although there's another character that's in here that I can't show because it would be too much of a spoiler. But Dipesh Patel is a scientist with NASA's JPL. JPL is Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It's in Pasadena, California. And he's part of this team that studies near-Earth asteroids. And part of what they do is just a defense. We're out there, we're monitoring them, we're cataloging them, and making sure that we're not going to have a collision we have like a dinosaur extinction event by one of these things hitting the Earth, at least we'll have a heads up and maybe try to stop them. And like most meteor coming asteroid movies impact that are coming to Earth, this one kind of touches on that, but it, unlike those stories, it's not the buildup of how they're doing the missiles or how they're going to try to deflect it or anything. This starts off right at the end of that, and then what happens after the impact. And so that's where the story takes off. Like I said, it's a short story. It's quick, punchy, boom, to the point, and not a whole lot of wasted time with it. With Depeche comes Irene. She runs the team that Depeche is with, and she's like the matriarch of the team. She's been there for years. She's self-developed this near Earth, the NEO team, the Near Earth Object team. And they're working with NASA to try to knock this thing off course that's hurling towards Earth with some missiles. And with that, you also have a younger intern, Dakota, and he plays a really big role in this too. He's like the counterpoint to Depeche. With that is an intelligent, possibly an intelligent alien entity that's here. And this is where all the philosophical stuff comes in. And we're going to really hit that tomorrow on your channel and talk about...
Is salvation only for humans?
There you go. So we do deal with that in here. And Depeche is a Christian. And there are some others that are in here that are not. And there's some talk back and forth, bantering. It's not, again, not beating them over the head with scripture or anything, but it does have some good discussion that's going back and forth. And so that's what happens when you throw all these people together like this, especially the alien involved. That I think puts up a good mix while Earth is being threatened by this big disaster. So that's what we're going to be talking about with it. And then checking chats real quick. We have Sherry said, just downloaded a copy for Kindle at Amazon. Yay.
Cool.
It is the hard book going to be coming? Well, you know what?
That was my question.
He was asking that too. Since this is a short story, you really don't, it's too small really to put it in print formats. And so there wouldn't until I come out with an analogy. Not an analogy. What do you call that? You put them all together. Anthology. Thank you. Anthology. And for these 4 short stories, there's 4 short stories that are coming out, one for each month. The first of each month is just one coming out. And then there's the novel that's coming out after that. So as more short stories come out, I think maybe 8 or 12, there'll be enough that I could put into a paper book. Because I know some people really prefer that. We did a poll, and we're going to be showing that later in the live stream of which kind of format people like the most. And at first, it kind of surprised me with some of the earlier results, but then it just kind of, with more people that you get better averaging. And it's averaging out to more what I've read about what trends are in terms of audiobook and ebook and print and just nothing at all. So that was good. So good comment. Thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll see what happens after that. We'll see. You could maybe contact me later and let me know what you think. And she said, no worries. Some of us like to smell a book. Well, I hear they have a new scratch and sniff version of ebooks. You just kind of go like this with it, and it smells like coffee.
I think that's a you problem.
It probably is. Probably because I put my coffee cup on it. We'll see.
That already dunked it in. I don't know.
It wouldn't work if I did that. So
coffee and rice.
Coffee and rice. Well, that's what should do to help it out, right? If you break it like that. So it
attracts the Asians. And they come and repair your phone.
We are going to get I wouldn't say demonetized, but we're going to get banned from YouTube because you're saying
a joke.
Yeah, it was not true.
And it's even a compliment because Asians are good at technology. They can fix things overnight, instantly.
And Christ Opportunity God said, and Smack the hardcover too. Yes, but I thought your preference was for you'll see it when the movie comes out. I thought that was where you were heading with yours. So I don't know if I'm going to take your advice with the hardcover, but it sounds good. We'll put a scratch and sniff on your hardcover. And for him, we'll put a scratch and sniff on the bottom of the pool, and we'll tell him, hey, it smells like strawberry. Go sniff it.
I'm not blonde.
You are really going to get us kicked out, aren't you? Gosh, you can't do this.
Kick me out yesterday, so we're good.
Well, yeah,
that was live stream yesterday. That was a fun one.
Yes, it was. And I'm looking for another overlay, and I don't see it. So I don't think everything. 2, 3. Do you see 3? I don't see 3 here.
I don't know.
Okay. Concepts behind the story. So one of the things I wanted to get into too is I try to make the stories as scientifically, or when I do historical, the novel I have is in the Middle Ages. Try to do as much research to make it historical, but not make it dry, make it exciting, but historically accurate. In this case, I wanted to make it scientifically accurate as much as possible. So I did some research in terms of these near Earth object teams that we have, not only in the US, but there's also in the EU and other locations where there are people around the globe that are tracking these possible asteroids and collisions. So I want to have it set up to make sure it's actually kind of accurate with that. So there are links in the description that go to these articles that I'm going to bring up, and this is one of them here. How NASA tries to look for these asteroids with so NASA must this one is NASA's most wanted, the most dangerous asteroids next to Earth, or at least near Earth, that are cycling through. So there's a link to this article here, and I bring that up because I wanted to put this as a question. Should I build a bunker now? Are we going to be hit by one of these things in such a way that we should be looking out to say, hey, duck, because one's coming quick?
Ducking won't help.
Ducking won't help?
Nor will the bunker, for that matter.
Yeah, that's true. Wipe us out. What are the chances, do you think, of us being hit by one of these objects, like what happened with, maybe it looks like that wiped out the dinosaurs?
Unlikely.
What chance would you give it?
0.01.
0.01. Okay.
Because of Jupiter alone.
Okay. We will Jupiter, because Jupiter, why?
Jupiter works as an anti-asteroid deterrent.
Yes. Kind of cleans it out. That's why you look at the structure of the solar system, how God may have, our solar system being unique for habitation of life. God really fashioned the solar system in such a way that we have all these things involved. I mean, even the moon itself is a bit of an asteroid sweeper, right? Just to help clean out some rocks. What's that?
Look how many hits it.
That's right. You can see the evidence from its scar. I'm going to give a couple examples here. It shouldn't be too worried about this. Asteroid 1950 DA has a 0.0029% chance.
They're even lower than I gave it.
They're even lower than you gave it. That's a 1 in 34,500 chance of impacting Earth in the year 2880. That's when it's supposed to cycle through close to the Earth, is 2880. And then even then, it has this very minuscule chance. There's others that they're tracking. There's another one that we just looked at this article right here that has a 0.00055% chance of striking Earth in 2119. So that's closer. It's less than 100 years. But it's a 1 in 181,000 chance of hitting the Earth. So according to NASA in the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the likelihood of an asteroid hitting Earth in the near future is very low. Most potential asteroids are categorized as a level 0. And so they have, and I'm going to show this other website here. This is actually a pretty cool one. It's an interactive one that shows the different objects that are here. And you can zoom up on it, even show you the shape of the asteroid and everything that it goes with it. And do a refresh on this because it's the best way to zoom out. But the link is in the description for this video that shows this. Any one of these you could pick on. This is showing it in real time. This is where they're tracking these asteroids right now. So here is the Earth, and we could look at possibly this one right here, because it looks like it came close to Eros, came close to our orbit. And they've got these identified down tightly to these type of objects. I mean, you can even see the image. Some of these that we have sent probes out to check them out. So don't be afraid. I would say that there is close to zero chance of us getting hit anytime soon. But that's not the case with this story. They had one careening towards us. So when we look at NASA and we look at these other things too, I'm going to ask you this question too. Should we take faith over science or science over faith?
Faith over science, would not be stupid about it.
Okay. I would say, there's a balance between the two. The God who created the universe is the same God who wrote the Bible. So if there is something that looks like it might be a contradiction, wait, it'll settle itself out. There was, we did a live stream not too long ago where we were talking about the Hittites, and the Bible mentions the Hittite Empire. There was a time, 1850s, 1860s, I believe, in universities where they were scoffing at the Bible, having the Hittites in there. It's just that those people never existed. Where we went to, I think it was to Stanford University, and looked at their listing for classes, and you could actually take a class now on the Hittite language. So give it enough time, these things sort of settle themselves out and work itself out like that. So I think there's a real balance between these two. Not only that, but there's during the Renaissance and the Enlightenment age after that, a great number of scientists that were Christians that made huge impacts in mathematics, astronomy, and so forth. And so there is a misconception now that Christianity is synonymous with ignorance and poor education, where I think you can make the alternate argument just as well. That there you do have the more educated you get, not in our institutions today, but the more you know, the closer you can be drawn to God. So balancing.
Well, that's kind of the whole point of science to begin with.
What's that?
Was to explore the universe and to understand how we got here because of the Creator, to explore the Creator's universe. That's by most of the founders of our current scientific revolution.
Yeah.
And that's based on their letters saying, hey, this is why we're doing it. We're doing it because we know God exists, and we know that because the Bible is true and that God exists, that it must be a logical universe. And because of that, we can take a step of faith in order to say that the scientific method will work. Almost like it was a foundational thing to science.
So we have a logical God, and therefore his creation would be logical, reflecting him. And because of that, we can apply the scientific method.
Yep.
Is that I think that's a pretty good argument. Today, we would look at that and say, duh, that's obvious. But there was a time where that was not so obvious.
Well, it was a concept, because if God doesn't exist and it's just all by chaos, there really isn't any rhyme or reason why it would be logical. It just happenstance.
Right.
So it would just as likely have been chaotic in its nature as it would have been logical if there was no logical being who put it into place.
And you might look at like the Greek gods, who were very capricious in the things they did, and
they're fickle.
Very and so
fickle.
You could look, if you were a follower of the Greek gods, you'd say, well, it just happens because the gods were angry or whatever, not that there were specific logical reasons for that to happen. So Christianity and science really do mesh together well, and we need to also realize that the Bible was not written to be a scientific textbook, so we shouldn't read it at it as that as much. But overall, we shouldn't see a contradiction between the world around us and what the Bible is saying either.
Now we just need to keep in mind who the author is, who's actually writing it, what the point of the writing is. Because if you look at some of the poems and say, well, these should be scientifically accurate, no, they're poems.
Right. And that would be like the Psalms or Proverbs, Ecclesiastes.
Proverbs. Yep.
So those would be, you look at the specific genre, like you said, and say that they would follow. Yeah, that would definitely be.
And whose perspective is it? Is it from God's perspective, or is it from man's perspective, describing something and trying to put it into terms that the local people would understand?
Right. In terms like what we would even use right now, sunrise and sunset, they're not scientifically accurate, but we still use those terms to describe what we're seeing from our point of view.
Yep.
So, yeah, very good points. So I'm going to put up another couple of, okay, Zach, the hard to cover. He said, I hope this gets the attention it deserves from this sci-fi community. I would love to see that. It's just a matter of exposure. So my experience with publishing has been, if you've got something good, it's not, and you put it out there, it's not necessarily going to do well. It's exposure. It's just how many people have are able to view this. If you think of it like, what's that?
That would be on you guys in the comments.
Well, yes, partially. And I'm doing the best I can in terms of advertisement too, but that's beside the point. If you have somebody who is like a well-known speaker, and I don't want to put anybody down. Let's say you have celebrity X that's out there, and celebrity X can't write to save her life, but she puts out a book, and maybe she has a ghostwriter write it or something, but she puts out a book. It's going to be extremely popular just because she wrote it, not necessarily that it's good quality. So those type of things, if you like this and you want to get this out, please share. And by the way, I don't do this very often. I'm going to do this 5 times this year. Once in the 1st of July, August, September, October, and November when the novel comes out. Then we do those book launches, and pretty much that's it. I might mention the book here and there as we go through, but the primary thing we're doing is to show you how to take a look at modern literature, modern movies, or whatever, and say, is there something we can use in terms of sharing the gospel with here? And this is another thing too. We've got to take back what the enemy is pretty much taken in literature, taken over media, and say that's their domain. It's not. We really do need to take that back. So some of the philosophical and theological questions that are brought up in this story: what is humanity's place in the universe? That's a question that's brought up. And I want to throw that out to you, Eric, and say, what is our place in the universe?
Counsel, from what perspective you're looking at would be the answer to that. If you're looking from a secular perspective, we're just here as random bunch of clump of cells, and that's it. If you're looking from a biblical perspective, we have a relationship with God. We are co-heirs in Christ.
Right.
We are intended to have that sort of fellowship with God. If you're looking at from an Islamic standpoint, you're all a slave. That's it. You're something to be used and discarded at his whim.
Ouch. So obviously we'd be taking a look at it from a Christian standpoint. Another question this raises in the story is, what is sentience? The idea that you have, well, how would you describe sentience?
Sentience, being self-aware.
Self-aware in a way that enough
being able to
critical thinking and morally responsible. So we can look at a dog and say the dog can think, the dog has emotions, the dog has a will, but is it at a point that's high enough for us to put it on the same level as what we are? And the answer would be no. And in the same way, you might look at an alien, and the alien might say, you're not up to the level I am, so therefore I could squash you. You are below my point of existence, so I can take you out. Could we say that angels are sort of like that? They're stronger and, from what we see, more intelligent in Scripture?
They got a lot more experience.
That's true.
Both the fallen and unfallen.
Right. And Book of Hebrews and the Psalm chapter 4 say that angels are put above us, that they're higher than us, but we then will have a higher position above them eventually too. So there's moral dilemmas that happen in the story as well. There's ethical implications of what happens with this meteor that's hitting. There might be an intelligence behind it. If it is so, what's going on there? And can we terraform another planet if there is life at all on that other planet? Let's say there's a bunch of little, I don't know, rodent-like creatures on Mars that we discover. Well, we want to make Mars Earth-like, and if we do that, we're going to kill all these rodents.
Little yellow electrical rodents.
Little yellow electrical rodents. We got to catch them all. So there's those that we could do, but maybe we can justify that. But if they're intelligent, then that might say, no, we can't wipe it all out just because we want another place to live.
And I guess the question is, how low do we go? If we're talking like we're seeing that there are bacteria on this planet.
Yes.
Do you go ahead and wipe out the bacteria in order to make it habitable for humanity? Where is the line that we cross?
That is a good question. How far can we go on that? And let me put that as a question to anybody out in the chat too, as we come across some of these questions that we're talking about. If you want to chime in, maybe give your 2 cents about it. We also have we have done reviews recently on other science fiction movies in the past. We have, make sure to do this. Okay, so we're going to talk about comparative analysis, comparing A Taste of Earth to some of these others. The first one that we had done, I believe, was Spectral. Now, in the movie Spectral, there were high stakes action and military involvement. I don't think either of us really liked the movie too much. This is a made-for-Netflix movie. Not a whole lot of people have heard about it.
It was at least interesting-ish.
It was. It did have some concepts. There was like some ghost-like things that they had to try to work with here to try to.
It was all science-based after a while. Well, very loose science-based.
Right.
To make it fit the desired outcome. But it was, if you go for a B, it's a B. Just keep that in mind and you'll enjoy it.
So yeah. So in what ways would you say that A Taste of Earth is like the movie Spectral?
I don't know. There's not a lot there.
Well, there was involvement with the military, correct? They did have the military involvement. Not a whole lot.
Involvement, yeah, but I'm thinking not nearly on the same level.
Not on the same level. No, and this is a short story too, so there's not a whole lot. This is not a military combat story, but there was some interaction that they had with it. And I won't say how yet because that would be a spoiler. The next movie we looked at was The Martian, and how it relates, I would say it relates to A Taste of Earth, is that The Martian is scientific problem-solving ingenuity with this. They had to try to figure out what was going on behind this asteroid, this meteor, that was not acting like it should have. And so if you can think of Dipesh Patel, sort of like the role in The Martian, he had to figure things out. Now, he's not stranded. There's not that whole thing that's going on with The Martian.
Well, you got that. You got the terraforming. You've got those sort of concepts that are from The Martian there that are interesting. You know, he actually successfully terraforms Mars for like 5 seconds, so it blows himself
with
up.
Potatoes.
With potatoes. Potatoes
Yes.
are actually a really good survival food.
Yes. The next one we looked at was Interstellar and the themes of survival and the human spirit. So Earth was basically being wiped out in this story, and they didn't go into a whole lot of detail about the blight that was wiping out their crops. But there is similarity with that in A Taste of Earth in terms of we have this global threat that's going on. We have to combat it. So that's where they're figuring it out here too. And then Arrival, one of the more recent ones we looked at. What would you say Arrival? I'm going to put you on the spot here. How does Arrival have similarities to A Taste of Earth?
Well, you're dealing with aliens.
Okay.
No matter what, on both fronts. It's just a question of interaction, communication.
Interaction and communication.
And what happens if there was an oopsie?
Yes, and trying to break down that barrier. So there's elements of arrival in there too. That's not the main thrust. Each one of these are kind of giving a different aspect, a different side to it. So we have one of the main things that's different between The Taste of Earth and these other movies is that this is coming from a Christian perspective. And even if, we'll be talking about this next Tuesday, what really makes Christian sci-fi? Do you have to have certain elements in it to make any fiction story a Christian story? Or is it just more generic? Can it be something that's more generic, that's very soft pedaling, but a good, wholesome story written by a Christian? So these are some of the questions that we'll be asking, and maybe that's something to think about. If you're going to join us for next week, you can chime in and give us your opinion on what makes any kind of fictional literature, what makes it Christian. So we have coming up soon, and before I get to that, I want to check out the live chats. And Carol says there are some bacteria that we do wipe out, so the world is easier to live in.
So we already do that part. Anyway.
Yes. Okay.
We're already terraforming Earth.
No, we can't terraform and make it Earth-like. Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
And make it too much Earth-like.
So you're bringing up a good point. What is, can we say that all life is precious? Is that philosophically true? Or is it even practically true? Would we treat Martian bacteria different than we would Earth bacteria?
I just nuke them all.
You just nuke them all. I'm waiting to see. I don't know if Carol or somebody else wants to answer this in the chat. Should we treat all life the same? Is all life precious and should have the same kind of protection? And is Martian or extraterrestrial life, should that be held with a different type of respect or level than we would for Earthbound? And there's some internal chat. I can't put that up as much as I would like to. So anyway, just something to think about. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat for that as we come through. There we go. We got one here.
From my lovely wife.
El Iso Elohim. She says, life is not all the same. Human life is greater than animals, which is greater than plants. And then I would also pose the question of why. Why that is, I would agree with you. I think most people would agree with you. I think you do have some people that are a little bit crazier that would say that plant life is on the same level as human life, or maybe even animal life.
Quite a few that would say animal life is equivalent to human life. But then the question would be for them, why isn't plant life equivalent to human life?
Right. Where do you put that dividing line?
If you're already breaking that dividing line down, where does it end?
Is it
cascade?
Is it just mammals?
Animal life is more important.
How about fish?
Fish.
Should we throw fish in there? So yeah, some of these are deeper philosophical questions, and this very short story does deal with some of that's in there. So we hold on. I got Carol saying, think of your dear family. Oh my gosh, you guys can't do that. I popped that up there. So I thought she was answering the question that we have here. Please forgive me.
Human family is more important than plants. Obviously.
That's right. Okay, so we do have another answer here. We're created in the image of God, but if I had to pick between you and plant behind you both, the plant is prettier. Oh, okay. So that's not so much a slam on me. That's a
slam on me.
That's a slam on you, because I think that she has a little bit of a bias here.
Yeah, she likes the plant more than me.
I would say it's nice, very nice looking plant too, but I would not put it on the same level or above you. Not even close. Not even close. So I do have some upcoming works and future story plans. Like I mentioned, that we have coming up the first of each month. August is the short story "A Death Has No Shadow." September, Cohesion Lost is the next short story. Then Child of the Stone, which is more, it's verging more on kind of a fantasy, but it's a lead-in to the novel. It is an event that happens before the novel, and it is a crucial event that happens. Do you need to read it before you read the novel? No, but it just gives a little bit more backstory to it that I think engages it a little bit more. This is all the novels, and even the short stories are all part of a series called The Shadows of Time. At least the novels are. Some of the short stories do play into it, some of them don't. But the novels are throughout history, and we'll dive into what the novels are later at another live stream. And I'm always interested in hearing what you like in terms of the type of science fiction. If you read these stories, I definitely want to hear your feedback. I want to hear what you liked, what you didn't like, what characters. I've been told many times that the main character in here, not Patel, but somebody else, is they want to see that character in future stories. And so people have really been engaging with that. Let's see. Okay, so something other than the chit chat in the chat. Carol B said, we need the whole food chain plus the decomposers. Yeah, it's a part of the ecosystem, right?
Yep.
It is, you wouldn't want to wipe out all life except human life. That's just stupid. You'd be cutting your nose off to spite your face. So this whole system does obviously serve a purpose. And I believe that we are stewards on this planet to be caretakers of it. That's one of the primary job we had in the Garden of Eden. So it just goes from there. I will put a shout out to October. This is, no, I'm sorry. I thought she was talking about the conference. The conference.
Next week?
Yes. Do you want to say something
Sure.
about that?
We have a conference coming up in Ohio next week. That's the Seek and Share Truth Conference. If you guys want to get your free tickets to that, it is available online. If you just search or go to my channel, either one, you'll find it pretty easily. Now, tomorrow we will be covering, is salvation for humans only or for all? So we'll find that out tomorrow.
Sounds good.
On the live stream.
And we will be doing that. And also, here's the poll that I put out. I think that this was pretty interesting. Like I said, originally, it was a little bit different than what I thought it would be. The question asked here, I don't know if you could read it or not. The question was, do you read science fiction or fantasy stories? The results were 41% said, yes, I prefer to read novels. 13% yes, I prefer short stories. 37% says, yes, but I prefer audiobooks. And 9% said, nah. This was
That's a lot better than what I saw when I looked at it.
Yeah,
it's like audiobooks were like nothing. I was like, oh, that's odd. I wonder why this entire economy is working and there's such a small dislike for it. But no, it definitely seems to be novels and audiobooks.
If you want to get your 2 cents in here, let's see if you could tip the scale. If you have a certain preference or not. I have over 150 respondents to this, and once you get higher numbers, like I said before, it starts to get a better average of what people are looking for. So I think it was a good poll. It's still open. Put your 2 cents in and make sorts of comments and make fun of the other people who said audiobooks or something like that. But I am putting the novels on audiobooks because that's actually one of my favorite ways to do it. I do like reading, but because of my busy lifestyle, audiobooks are where we're going. And the novel, not the short stories, but the novel will be in audiobook format. Maybe the short stories eventually. So A Taste of Earth is available in many different formats. We've got it on Amazon. It's on Apple. It's on Barnes & Noble, Kubo, and many others. There's a whole list of different venues that it's available on. And I do have links in the description for this live stream that will show you where you can just click on and go from that. And if you do read it, like I said, please, if you could, even a simple, hey, this is good, enjoyed it, Or this is terrible. I absolutely hate it. I would not give this to my worst enemy.
This isn't even good as dog food. It's digital.
That's right. Wow. Put it in. Put your comments in, and all the different. Each review helps, especially if they're high ones and not 2s or 1s. Then they really, or 3s. Give me all 5s, would you? Anyway, so they do help, and see where we go from there. And if you could share this particular video with somebody who does like science fiction or Christian fiction, that would also be helpful. We have coming up soon, on Thursday, tomorrow night.
Yep.
Tomorrow night, I will be reviewing with you Salvation for All. This is a question, and it's just like I said, the question that's asked in this short story is, what?
Where's the line?
Where's the line, right? Where's that line drawn for God allowing or giving us a method for salvation? We messed up, and he said, this is the way that you guys can be restored to relationship with me, is through this process. And then on Thursday, Independence Day, but why? And that is on Independence Day, like we said earlier. And we're asking the question, was this movie worth it? It came out a long time ago, but I still like watching Independence Day, the first one, with my children. How about Independence Day 2? But there is a theme in there that we can pull out as a Christian theme to say, hey, here's something that is relatable. So we're going to be reviewing that. Do you have any? I'm going to check the comments for any last. Oh, she said, okay, so this is a plug. She said, it is good. I enjoyed it. And please do clarify that I love my husband. Yes, she does.
She just likes the plant more than me.
She does like the plants. and I'll let you know too. I think I did observe her watering him once, so she does take good care of him. And boy, she's really trying to make up after this. His husband is under the plant. The plant doesn't have a beard. That's the key, right? So we'll go with that. I want to thank you all for participating. Make this rather quick and everything. And we're going to, like I say, if you have a chance, check it out. If not, God bless you. And we will see you tomorrow evening or Thursday morning, both of which hey, sounds good to me.